Hello, everyone. We are 3 days away from the celebration of Easter, my favorite day of the church year. I love Easter because since Jesus lives, I, like him, will live forever. And I couldn't be more grateful for what he sacrificed just for me. I have never been able to figure out how anyone can be an unbeliever. There is so much proof, both in and out of the Bible, that Jesus walked the earth, was crucified under Roman rule, and rose from the dead. An Israeli historian by the name of Josephus knew Jesus and wrote about him. Above all, though, hundreds of people, saw the resurrected Jesus firsthand, and many stories are written about his resurrection in the Bible. Our question today, though, is this: is there proof in the Bible that the resurrection of Jesus occurred? My answer, yes. What proof is there? I just heard a wonderful message this morning on this very topic from a Dr. Chad Ragsdale, a professor at Ozark Community College. Since this was to be my video topic, I'll share a few of the things he taught. The best proof of the resurrection are the stories of witnesses. People who actually saw Jesus after he arose. The disciples saw him. The women who supported his ministry saw him. 2 men on the road to Emmaus saw him. And 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 6 to 8 say, he appeared to Paul and more than 500 of the brothers. While it is true that though 2 people see exactly the same thing, they often tell the story differently. It is also true that what they all saw was the resurrected Jesus. In the case of Jesus, more than 500 not only saw him after the crucifixion, but some even wrote about it. What other proof is there? How about an empty tomb? I visited Israel in 2012 and saw what I firmly believe is the tomb where Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus laid Jesus to rest. The tomb was empty when I saw it. Matthew chapter 28, Mark 16, Luke 24, and John 20 each tell us the tomb was empty. And to this day, no body of Jesus has ever been found on earth. An empty tomb, no body, and eyewitness accounts should be enough to convince us Jesus rose from the dead. Is there anything else? Yes. What about the Shroud of Turin? For those who have never heard of it, it is believed by many, including me, to be the burial cloth in which Jesus' body was laid. John chapter 20, verses 6 and 7 tell us that, quote, Peter looked into the empty tomb and saw strips of linen lying there, as well as the burial cloth that had been around Jesus' head. The cloth was folded up by itself, separate from the linen, end quote. Today, the Shroud of Turin is preserved in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in Turin, Italy. I'll hold up a picture of it in hopes you can see it. I'm not sure you can, but we'll try. Now I'll hold up a picture of part of the image visible on the cloth. The cloth is 14 feet 5 inches by 3 feet 7 inches. Blood stains are visible on the shroud. Perhaps the most interesting proof of that the shroud may be authentic is the discovery that pollen on the cloth comes from a thorn plant that grows near Jerusalem. Most scientists agree the image on the cloth was neither painted nor dyed, and amazingly, the color only exists on the very top of the material and has not soaked into the cloth. The image in the picture shows 2 nail wounds on the man's feet. The legs are not broken. There are 120 whip marks on the body from neck to ankles. The head is covered with puncture wounds. A wound on his side occurred after the death of this man. Finally, 13 different tests prove positive for human blood from the wounds. It is theorized that the image was created on the cloth as a result of energy that was created during the resurrection. These facts give us reason to believe this very well could be Jesus' burial cloth. Did God leave us something so skeptics might believe? Skeptics like the disciple Thomas, who didn't believe he was actually looking at Jesus until he saw the wounds? Jesus said to Thomas, however, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." I raised this question at the beginning. Is there biblical proof of the resurrection of Jesus? My answer is yes. That proof includes witnesses who admit to seeing the risen Christ, an empty tomb, and a burial cloth that many believe truly is the cloth Peter saw in the tomb on the 3rd day after Jesus died. As you prepare for Easter this week and go to church, as you may not have done since Christmas, consider the words of God through Paul in 1 Corinthians 15, verses 17, 13, and 14. Quote, "If Christ has not been raised, your faith is futile. If there is no resurrection of the dead, then not even Christ has been raised. And if Christ has not been raised, our preaching is useless, and so is your faith." End quote. But Christ has risen. He has risen indeed. From our family to yours, I wish you a very blessed and happy Easter. Remember, because he lives, we will live forever. See you Thursday.